Hello, everyone. This is Dennis Nayer, the Director of Research, Development, and Training for the New York State Association of Chiefs of Police. And today I'm here with Lieutenant Christine Riley and Sergeant Jim Laurie of the Mohawk Valley Police Academy. So first, thank you for being with me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk a little bit about contemporary police training, some of the issues, and some things that the listeners can get some value from. So the first question I have for either of you is if you can just provide the listeners with a brief overview of what recruit training is like, and also how many hours in total it takes for a police candidate to graduate from a police academy.
We have to follow the basic course for police, their minimum standards. We at the academy have over 1,000 hours. I think their minimum is about 600. We add on to that, so we have about over 1,000, maybe 1,200 hours that a recruit has to have when they're attending this academy, a full-time recruit. Through that, we try to get as realistic training as they're going to get before we send them out to the FTO program. We try to always, every year we have it, try to stay ahead of the curve and try to beat DCGS or MPTC to whatever it is they're going to do. We try to research ahead of time and get that contemporary training in before it's a mandate.
So here, I know this academy, you run it very well, and your goal is to make it that when the police recruits graduate, that they, whatever agency they're from, they can deal with whatever situation they're confronted with?
Absolutely. And like Jim was saying about being ahead of the curve, like with reality-based training, we were doing that before it was a mandate, and now they upped the game. We got the equipment and all that kind of stuff, but we were using Homeland Security in Oriskany for years.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah, before that. So we definitely want to give them all the tools that they need, and we call it the building blocks. FTO is where you really learn what the job is about, but we try and give them all the building blocks before they get out there.
Through your experience, what do you think makes the best recruit? Because a lot of the listeners here are going to be police chiefs, police administrators, and maybe the information that they can get from this podcast will help them in selecting new hire that will become a good recruit in a police academy.
I think it would be life experience. Having a recruit come in right from college, where the only thing they've known their entire life was maybe working part-time somewhere, but schoolwork. They graduate college, and then here they go right into more schoolwork. And they've really never built that life experience where they've interacted with people, or they've been in situations where maybe they worked at a restaurant and somebody was upset with something, and they didn't know how to diffuse that situation, or they never were confronted with that. When they come in here at the academy, those skills aren't developed yet, so we have to even dig even further down and then just build those skills into them. Where you have somebody with life experience who's maybe 25, 26 years old, come in, they've had maybe a full-time job before, they've been in a supervisor position before. They're a little bit more mature, and it makes it for an easier recruit to mold, but we see them develop a lot faster than the recruits who come in just straight from college or very young recruits. Not saying that not every recruit that comes in 20, 21 years old is like that, but just I think from our experience, that life experienced recruit, it fares off a little bit better.
And as a follow-up to that, if an agency hires someone who does well on the test and they're good all around, but they don't have that life experience, what is it that can offset that lack of life experience?
Communication is huge in this job. That's probably one of the most important skills that we have. We go back to corrections, how we have this corrections academy here right now. I think some of the people that we've seen that have worked in corrections prior to getting hired on road patrol definitely have good communication skills, because you're dealing with those people that are in this little pod and you're one person with 52 inmates. You have to learn how to diffuse and how to talk to them and get them to do what you want them to do,
right,
without having to fight with them, which is a goal of our job, right? If you don't have to fight with people, you don't want to fight with people.
And we talk about reality-based training. The other main training is de-escalation-based training. And those who have good communication skills can take a situation that might be a little tenuous or may have the ability to turn volatile quick. And if they have the right people skills, they could settle that.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
So, chiefs out there who are listening, they should look for people life experience, communication skills, people who have an ability to relate to others.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So our next question is, obviously, training is so important, obviously, for an officer's safety and for liability and basically everything, because that's the foundation of a police officer. What challenges do you find as directors of a police academy now in getting that training across and making it that the officers out there, whether they're a sheriff's deputy, a police officer, full-time, part-time, that they can do the job properly? What are the challenges that you have to meet?
I think maybe getting them to buy into it. We do, recruit training here, but we also do in-service, and I think we all know that can be a difficult task at times. But getting them to buy into it, how important it is for your job, I think those are probably the biggest challenges that we face as far as that goes. But we do try and keep things interesting, getting new people here to speak, and kind of up in our game every academy class that we have. We try and do something a little bit different or a little bit better to keep people engaged.
And do you find that you have 1,200 hours, which someone listening could think, well, that's a lot of hours, which it is. Do you find that you sometimes wish you had more?
Yes.
In what particular areas?
The scenario-based training, we always want to build in more and more room for that, and we have been through the years. But we always look back every year and we're like, all right, we need to add 2 more hours of this, 2 more hours of scenario-based training, just to get them comfortable.
Right.
A lot of that has to do with the younger recruit, because we see that we put them through a 4-hour block. DCGS says, all right, you have to do this training, and it requires 4 hours of scenario-based training. And then you get it, and you have the recruits, they sit there and stare at each other for 5 minutes because they don't know how to talk to each other. And we're like, okay, instead of 4, we might need 6 next time. We need to build this in. We need to add more hours into scenario-based training, or just, all right, we missed it. We want to get this class in. We might go to a training in the next 6-7 months and be like, we need to get this in. We need to put more de-escalation, and we need to put more of this in. Something new came in. The procedural justice just happened to come in this summer in the middle of our academy. We're like, I wish we can had room to put it in, because I think it's phenomenal training. Last year, the Fair and Impartial came in training, and it's great training. We fit it in this year, so we're constantly adding to it. But a lot of it has to do with trainings that we run into during the academy that we want to put in, but our schedule's already overflowing with stuff.
Right.
So we put a note in, all right, next year we're going to add in an extra day for this.
Right.
And then the other option is for it to become an in-service training.
Right.
But you're right, the landscaping of policing has changed so much that there's so much that you want to get out there training-wise that I could imagine that would be a huge challenge.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of every academy, we do sit and talk and we reevaluate, okay, maybe we don't need this much time for this, but we definitely need extra time for this. So we are constantly talking about the next academy and what we're going to do to change it and make it better. So constant reevaluation of the training.
So with that, what do you see as the graduation rate of recruits? Obviously, you run a tight ship here, and some people get hired and they may do well on an interview and on a test, but where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, they may lack the suitability. Can you speak to the listeners about that?
A lot of the recruits who won't make it get weeded out maybe the first 2 weeks during military drill. That when that hits them hard of what lifestyle you're going to be entering into, when that hits them, they kind of make that self-evaluation. This isn't for me, and they weed themselves out. And throughout the course of the 6 months, unless something academic happens, we try our best to put them on the path. And we, unless it's something where it's an officer's a safety issue, or that either they're going to get hurt or they're going to be detrimental to their agency, we try to get them through as best as we can. When they get when they pass the academy, we see a lot of it happen on FTO, where they start to put these skills they've learned, try to apply them to the real world, and they can't. That's when the graduation rate we only probably lose 1 or 2, maybe in academy.
Yeah.
Which we never like to see any, because we take pride in what we do here. We want to see everybody make it back, but we understand that's the reality of it. So I want to say about 95, 98%
I would definitely,
make
definitely.
it through.
And even going back to that, within the first couple of weeks where we have a family breakfast where we talk about stress and EAP and all these things, that we actually lost a kid the very next day because he was like, too much. Like, I'm not cut out for this.
And I've heard that actually at academies throughout the state of the exact same scenario. People get there day one and realize that is not for them. That's the reality of it, and it shouldn't be something that someone goes through if they realize it's not for them or their family, because it's a very demanding job and it's not getting any easier.
Right. Well, and like Jim said, it's a lifestyle. I mean, this isn't just, you clock in and you clock out at the end of the day and everything's over and you go home. It's a lifestyle, and your whole life changes because of this job and what it is. So.
Well, I applaud the efforts that are going on here at the Mohawk Valley Police Academy. And if the listeners want to find out more about training courses, whether getting a new hire into an academy class or in-service training, what can they do to contact either of you or to find out more?
I think probably the easiest way is to email us at our email addresses. Mine is cwreilly@mvcc.edu.
And mine's JLAUREY@mbcc.edu.
I think this information is great. The police chiefs out there who are listening, I know, want the best candidates and they want them to succeed. And I think this information will help them in their selection process. So I want to just thank you both for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And we look forward to future podcasts.